Good morning, Rabbi Isai. L'ilui Nishmas Mordechai Hayom Chamishu Shloshim Yom Shehem Chamisha Shavuos Bo or Lzaicher. Sponsored for the bar mitzvah of Zevi Resnick of Cedrahurst. Today's is Bo Bayom. He's Mesayaim Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Also, L'ilui Nishmas, the heilige yidden we lost in Meron on Thursday. I have a picture of this tzaddik, Zevi. Here he is. No, of course, I have to throw one out. Here, do you believe in New York? The cutout, the bobblehead cutout. Shem Yirachem. Okay. Baruch Hashem, they didn't make me schlep it back there, Yisrael. I'm walking on water, that's what it is? Here's Zevi with the merch. Beautiful stuff. All right. Sponsored by Mordechai Sapoznick, L'ilui Nishmas, my grandfather, Rabbi Yisrael Aryeh Sapoznick, Rabbi Yisrael Aryeh ben Avrohom Yeshayahu, the friend of the Avrohom, my grandfather, meiletz yosher for the entire mishpacha, and all of Klal Yisroel. Dedication for the holy Neshamos of Meron, tragedy, and Refuah Sheleima for all the injured. Terasi magin lanu, himi yirasenenu, hu yam l'stoy v'aleinu, adinenu bar yoichoi. There's another sponsor. Fourth sponsor. The Mack brothers, the Schus Refuah Sheleima for the grandfather, SHMUEL YITZCHACK Ben Malkah, who is currently in the ICU. Refuah Sheleima. Baruch Hashem, I didn't see any of those videos that I didn't want to see, Baruch Hashem. But there was a video that made me cry, shed a couple of tears, and I took a still shot of that video I want to share with you. This is the video. It's a line of people waiting to give blood. They got like 2,500 blood thing. But in the line you see Datilumi, Charedi, Chiloni, women, men, all standing there to do the chesed, to give. And I thought it was amazing. We shouldn't have to do the chesed in those situations. There should be a havas chinam at all times. Be'ez Hashem will take it from there to our entire life. In this week's Ami magazine, I opened it up. I was reading through it. This is a great article about Mordechai Shapiro, correct. I was at his concert, he's a great guy. I'm saying at the end of the article, all of a sudden I noticed there's another article. Look at this. So I'm trying to tell you, this is an ad for MDY. What's cool about it is that there's an email I read this week from the guy from Gibraltar. I hope they asked him permission. Well, whatever. It's too late now. So when you send in an email, it's dangerous. You might make it to the Ami magazine. What? Yeah, you lose all rights. And even if you say anonymous, you lose your rights. Here's the one that's probably not going to make it. Oh, here we go. This is from Zevi's father. I brought Zevi with me to the Siyum in the 5 towns. Zevi started with the Amen at Daf. When it slowed down, took a break from producing, he had to stop. In the meantime, see, that was a trick. A lot of people, they stopped getting the 8 minutes, so they went to the regular shir. Spent the last plus 5 years learning Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. It took him 5 years, unbelievable. And he'll be Mesayaim tonight. So Mazel Tov, Zevi, Resnick is the father. Jack Ehrenhaus says, thank you for inspiring daily daf. Very much appreciate your hard work and we make it happen. Chumash Vayikro. Zois Hachaya Asher Toichlu. Says Rashi, the Torah teaches us that Moshe held up each animal and showed it to the nation, saying, this you can, and this you can't eat. Every species of fish, all types of birds. And this might be the source of showing all the types of animals to the Kohen Gadol before Yom Kippur to get him familiar with the law. Just my thought, Jack. And one more, quickly. Actually, let's do this one. This people were wondering who this tzaddik in Kirstir, who is he? What does he look like? Is this him? This is him. Here he is with his Gemara. Incredible what it says there. This became a new thing last night also. Eli Hatzadik. Kavod Purim. I really enjoy. I just started this Masechta. I live in Kirstir, hungry near the grave of the holy tzaddik Reb Shaila. B'chesed Hashem, I received the Gemara today. I'm here 5 years without Sfarim. I don't know what that means exactly. He went 5 years without Sfarim. At age 60, I worry I wouldn't be Zayich to finish the Shir. Bez Hashem, I can now dig in again. I'm formerly from RBS. I'm a happy Jew now. Brachas to all of you involved in the Shir. Nisan Alevi Kinstein. And he writes that he brings kvitlach to the caver, but it didn't print out exactly. But if somebody wants, I guess send it to Yosef. He'll get you the address. All right. We are holding Daf Chof Aleph. Today is 20 daf into Shas. It's unbelievable. Today we're going to be finishing our first perek in Yoma. Did I say Shas? Yoma. Well, every Mishnah is a new Masechta. Every Masechta is a new Shas. For some people that they started with Yoma, it's the beginning of Shas for them. It doesn't necessarily have to start in Brachas. And Lamaisa, Yoma did not disappoint so far. It's Geshmak Masechta, everything's flowing beautifully. So, says the Gemara holding Omar Rav Yehuda Omar Rav, like 6 lines down, from top of Chof Aleph Amud Aleph. New sugya. B'shah Yisrael oilim l'regel. When Klal Yisroel went aliyah l'regel to the Beis Hamikdash, oimdim tzvufim u'mishtachavim revachim. Very famous line. Klal Yisroel stood tzafuf, packed in like sardines, u'mishtachavim revachim. But when they bowed down, everything opened up for them, and everybody had 4 amas. Why? Rashi says each one would be misvad and say the vidui and say all that various that they did, and it was embarrassing. They didn't want their friends to hear, so they had all that space. Tzafuf, I thought this was an amazing Rashi. You have to see inside Rashi over here. Rashi says tzvufim lashon tzaf, a lashon of floating, and I learned this on Shabbos, and I was shooken up by this Rashi. Look what Rashi says. It reminded me of Meron. I spoke to Bachrim that were there, and you get lifted off the ground. You have no power of your own. Literally, the feet come off the ground, and you just go in a wave. That's what Rashi says there. Raglov nitolim me'al ha'aretz. That's how many people were there. Yet, there was a major nace. When it comes to Kedusha, there's no limitation of space, and everybody had their own space. I have to say, once I'm here, and I mentioned it earlier, but I know that it was Rabbi Avrohom Weisfish, his son was here yesterday. His other son, Shmuley, is a big part of the shir. He's not bar mitzvah yet. He's in high school in England. And I remember he told me this is his favorite story, so I have to say, L'kavod Shmuley. On Yom Kippur, 2 years ago, I was in the Churva. You all know the story, but the new guys don't. I was in the Churva. It's Nusach Hagra, and I had the unpleasant opportunity to go to the restroom in the basement of the Churva, and there was a backup, and there was a lot of liquid on the floor, not very pleasant liquid, and all the grunics, according to the Gra, you do not wear slippers on Yom Kippur, but people had to go to the bathroom. So go to the bathroom. I saw people stepping in, let's just call it yellow liquid. And fine. Now, I was very excited. This is going to be the first time in my life I'm going to be doing one of these. First time ever. Shtachava. Full, down, on all 4. And they take turns, half and half. So, I get down on all 4. I'm about to say, and all of a sudden, poof, right in my face, a soggy sock. One of the worst experiences in my life. It went from, that's it. That's the nace. They didn't have to go to the bathroom, there's no such thing. But anyway, wow, okay. Now you understand why it's Shmuley Weiss's favorite story? Another Maisi you can't write Nachman. It's going in there, okay, wow. V'nim shachim Achadesrei amo achorei beis hakaporos. Uh-oh, where's my stick? No stick today? It's in? Oh, here it is. Rabbi Isai, here it is. Up here, Gary. Shkoyach Gary, special cameraman. He gets more emails than I get. So please stop panning this way. Why do you do that? You have no idea. I'm not showing you many of them. Right over here, there's 11 amma from the end. This is Kodesh HaKadoshim. Heichel, you go in here. Kodesh HaKadoshim is 20 by 20. Right behind there, there's an empty spot between the Heichel, the whole building, and the rest. 11 amma, 22 feet. Says the Gemara, by the way, I saw a pshat that why didn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu just make a nace that everybody has 4 amas all day long? Why did it have to be like sardines and then open it up? I forgot who says it. Maybe no one remembers. You remember? There's a Gemara in Brachas, Davav, all the way in the beginning, when whoever started Shas for sure remembers this Gemara. Igra de kala de chika. The schar of going to a shear and not understanding what's flying, just going, is everybody's pushed like a sardine. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give Klal Yisroel that schar also of being a sardine. And then, when necessary, it opened up. Zog the Gemara, Maika Omar. So what's the Gemara's kasha? Just to explain it nicely. Maika Omar. Why do people have to be over here in the 11 amma? But it's more than why. If they're bowing down, everybody should be right over here, facing the Heichel, going in. Everybody should be bowing down to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Why are people behind the Kodesh HaKadoshim facing the opposite way? Says the Gemara, you're right. And we're talking about Yisrael. So think about it. I don't know if you could see. Yeah, you could. This is Ezras Yisrael right over here. We said there's 11 amma. This is where Klal Yisrael could stand if you're in Yisrael. This is where the Kohanim are doing all the avodah. But on Yom Kippur, Klal Yisrael made it over here. The Yisraelim, that is. They made it to this 11 amma. So they're here. That's where they're standing. But when they bowed down, they actually came around and they all fit into this area right here. This 22 amma, we said, is from this wall to this wall. They all stood right in here. The Yisraelim. This is one of the 10 nisim that's brought down in the Mishnah Novus, the Snan. It says in Novus. There were 10 nisim. A woman would not lose her pregnancy based on the smell, the beautiful, the unbelievable, enticing smell of the B'sar Kodesh. I don't know if we have time for another Maisa. It's not such a great Maisa. This cannot make it into the book. Don't tell anybody the story. But I was once, I borrowed my brother-in-law's car. He had a Camaro back in the day. It's like it looks like a Corvette, but it's much less expensive. And I went to the famous burger joint in Chicago to get myself a burger buddy, Ken's Diner. And I'm going down McCormick at about 100 miles an hour, flying back home. I want it nice and hot, and a cop pulls me over. So I said, "Officer, I'm sorry, you're right, you got me. I was speeding. But what should I do? My wife, she had a craving. She needed this burger, and I pull out the burger. He goes, you know what? Okay, you could go. My wife wasn't pregnant, but I didn't want to pay for the thing, whatever. No, I never said this. Cut. Now,
That's our Rebbe.
That's in chapter 4. Yeah, listen. Afal P. Kane, I still say Daf Yomi. Those were the days, back in the day. Yeah. And the meat never spoiled, even if it didn't make it onto the Mizbeach for whatever reason, didn't spoil. If you live in Eretz Yisrael, you know that this is the greatest of all the nisim. The flies in Eretz Yisrael, I believe, have more chutzpah than the flies in America. I'm serious. You swat it away, it comes right back. So it's like a different breed over here. And not to have any flies in this area, this Beis HaMitbochayim right here with all the rings in the floor and all the tables and not to have a single fly Vendell Jones.
Indiana Jones is based on him.
Yeah.
He found the original Cedrahurst that Rav Getz, the previous chief rabbi of the old city. He said this was it.
Yeah.
He burnt it in a swamp, and not a fly came within like a mile of it.
Meiser Shkamatoya?
Meiser Shkamatoya.
Wow.
Started
I thought he was supposed to die if you burn the tires or whatever. And then 9 months later, he died. 9 months later. This story is, I don't know about this story. They say about Rav Moshe Feinstein that he was in the bungalow colony and the bacher had like a cup of soda or whatever, and the flies kept coming. It was bothering him, so Rav Moshe Feinstein grabbed the cup and the flies, whatever. Mice is like that. G'daylim don't have flies. A real in all the 400 and 830 years, right? There's never a carry for the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, not to embarrass him. Oymer is the carbon that we bring on the second day of Pesach in order to eat the new crop, and they only would harvest the amount needed for the Oymer, and then that allowed them to harvest more. So, if there was a problem with the lechem, with the Oymer, they couldn't do it again. You can't harvest on Yantif. You can't cut the wheat. It was too late even. The same story with the Shtei Lechem on Shavuos, the 2 breads of Shavuos. Ubelechem apanim. We have it, might as well show it. You mean they should have done more? I don't know if they had rishus to do more. You don't have rishus but you don't have right to, and even if they did, they should make another batch when you're not allowed to, just in case. Yeah. Lechem apanim. This is lechem apanim every week. Now, if something went wrong with the lechem apanim, that's it. The shulchan sat empty for an entire week because you could only make it on Friday. No, it never happened. Says that was one of the nisim. Lechem apanim. Oimdim tzvufim, and this is the nays that we're talking about over here. Oimdim tzvufim, mishtachim, revuchim. They stood like sardines, but when they were bowing down, they had a lot of room. There are a lot of scorpions in Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim area. And you all know about my akrov. There's enough stories today, but I was just thinking because when Aryeh Adler gave me a scorpion, a live scorpion, and it got lost in my house. Like I have the box, like it came in a box, but the scorpion disappeared. We never found him. For months we were always worried. But he told me, don't worry. He showed me a video of him going out here with his children. He lifted up a rock. There's like 5 scorpions just scattered away. So there's scorpions all over the place. Nevertheless, in Yerushalayim, there's never any damage from a scorpion. Now, notice that we're talking about the Beis HaMikdash, and we just shifted to Yerushalayim. From all the people of the L'ilui Nishmas that came up to Yerushalayim, no one ever complained that he's hungry or that his bed is kind of tight. So they put him in a little closet somewhere. Everybody had enough room. I saw a Gevaldika. What? The Neshamos didn't complain. Nobody kvetched. Everybody's like happy. It's Geshmaka bed. It's a pretty big nes. But the Ram Shiv says a Geshmaka of a good chap. He says that this nes only happened to tzaddikim. But nobody complained, because if you complain, then you tell other people you're not a tzaddik. Ooh. It's like here, like we have Refuah. Before we left for COVID, it was kind of tight. Now it's the same amount of people, but we just have more space. What you tell me Nisim about Beis HaMikdash, and now all of a sudden you bring me 2 things that have to do with Yerushalayim. No scorpions, and people had enough room. Says Gemara, there are 2 more nisim. The Sanya ma'olam loikibu geshamim eishel atzia maracha. Where's my mizbeach? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Here, get me my mizbeach, please. Somebody. It's heavy stuff. Here. Atzia maracha is right here. If it rained, the fire never went out. The atzia maracha. Va'ashara maracha afilu kol haruchash ba'olam boys umenashris boy emizizos oisay mimin kaimai. I don't remember the vart. What's the vart? I really don't. There's the the smoke, the pillar of smoke went up straight. It was beautiful, nice and straight. The Gemara is going to say that's not exactly like that, but it's still a beautiful nice. And that's it. What's the vart? Remind me? Maybe say it, because I don't know it. Rain. No, I don't remember. No, that what? Rain represents Parnasa. And the fire is Esha Torah. And if you do the Torah, you'll never have... No, not that. No, I thought it was much better later on. We're going to say much better. The same thing. A different one. That what? That Parnasa never overtook the consistency of Torah. Torah is consistent. The Parnasa never overtook them. Okay, great. Now, it happens to be that if you open up Masechtas Avos, these two things actually appear in the Mishnah. These two nisim. And only afterwards, it says the two of Yerushalayim. All the way at the end of the Mishnah, it says the two things of Yerushalayim. So in fact, the Mishnah, if you're reading the Mishnah, you'll see 12. What's going on here? Why are there 12 nisim? 10 in the Beis Hamikdash, 2 in Yerushalayim. That's the Gemara of Suleka. Vatani Rav Shmaya b'Kal B'noi. Rav Shmaya said in Kal Nivoi, Shivrei Klei Cheres Nivlaim B'Mkoimam. There was a big nace. They would cook the meat of the kachei kachim in an earthenware kli, and the kli would absorb the flavor of the kachei kachim. And what happens after one day? That flavor in the kli becomes noisar, and you can't use the kli anymore. What do you do with the kli cheres that becomes treif? Torah says you have to break it. There's no way. You can't table in the mikveh, you can't put it in a fire, nothing. So they would break the kli. And what would happen? Nivlaim b'mkaiman. Right over here, there's a hole, there's a spot right on this side of the mizbeach. And here's a picture of it. This, by the way, I don't know that we need it, but I printed it. Here's the 11 Amma where Klal Yisroel stood, the Israelim stood. Okay, then that's out of the way. This is the Trumas Hadeshin that we spoke about yesterday. We're going to speak about it again now. But here's the picture. There's a shovel made out of silver, and he has a whole bunch of ashes, and he pours it right here on this square. And it just miraculously, according to Rashi at least, other Rishonim arguing Rashi about this particular Trumas Hadeshin, but every day it would just disappear into the ground. And the same thing, Shivrei Klei Cheres, they would put the Shivrei Klei Cheres right over here on this thing, disappeared. Nace. So that's a massive nace. If you saw that, you wouldn't believe it. I don't know. Yeah, but it seems like, because look, well, let's go weiter. It seems like it was there. V'amar Abaya, Mura v'noitza. So Mura v'noitza, you have this right over here. This, they say, I don't remember if it was exactly, the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan says that this, you had to have tremendous amount of power in your hand. You had to be like a pitcher. They would take the mura, this is a noitza, this is the feather, attached to it, it's like the neck with the feather, attached to it is the zepek. The question is if this is the rest of it also, but this is the innards of the bird. We're talking about the oiler bird. They would remove this, and he would be standing right over here. Remember, here's the kohen doing his avodah over here on this corner, and you toss it 30 amas or so, because this is from here to this corner is 32 amas. He would toss it, and it's a very lightweight thing. He was able to toss it and hit that hole over there where it disappears. So that was one of the avodas kashis, I think. But it definitely says in the Gemara that Rabbi Yochanan said they had a lot of koyach, it took a lot of strength to do. Who says this? But look over, to me it seemed like over here, look. Okay, maybe not. They're saying that in the Masifta it says that the klicheres just was absorbed anywhere. It's interesting. Mura, the crop, v'noitza, and the wing, the feathers. V'dishun mizbeach hapnimi. So here, this is the mizbeach hapnimi, right? This is the Ketores mizbeach. Where's Eli's mizbeach? I don't know. Okay, fine. Eli Erma made one also. But on top, this is where you make the Ketores, and you have to clean it off. You have to clean it out. And you take the ashes and you put it into that hole. Where do you put that? That for sure you put over here. Yeah, that's no shayla. V'dishun ha-menorah. I don't have the menorah. Menorah is over there. You want to bring it? Bring it. Why not? So they cleaned out the menorah. Niv'layim b'mkoimon, it says. Okay, I believe this is the menorah. Yeshayah. Beautiful menorah. Once we have it, we might as well use it. Every day they have to clean out the wicks. Wow, it even has wicks, this model. I don't know if you can see. No. They had to light it. Says the Gemara. So we have a problem. You just gave me a list of 10, and here's 2 more, or more. There's all the things that are absorbed into the ground. Says the Gemara, Psuli Tlasa Havu. There's the 3 that we discussed: the Omer, the Shtei Alechem, the Lechem Apanim. All the breads that never had a psul are considered 1. Don't consider them 3. Hashvinu v'chad. So apik tray, v'ayel tray. So you made from 3, you made it 1. So now we just opened up room for 2 more, and you just inserted 2. The cheres, the earthenware that gets absorbed in the ground, and the foods that get absorbed. That's 2. Make that 1. It's 1 nace. Once you see one thing disappearing in the ground, you don't need to see this and this and that. You understand the miracle. It's a miracle. You can't believe it. So you're going, oh, did you see the meat get absorbed? No. Oh, so I don't believe it. You saw, what's the difference? If you see this, you see that. It's all the same. You should be machshav it as 1, so now you're missing 1. There's more. When they took the lechem upon him, when they ate it, it was as hot as when they put it in the week before on Shabbos, 8 days ago. Big nace, shenemar, losam lechem choim b'yomi lakchoy. It had heat to it. All right? V'suleka v'amar Rebbe Levi, dovazem esaris b'yodenu, me'avosenu, makoim aroin enoi menamido. This is, it's heavy. This is the Aryeh, or at least a model of one. It's interesting, it comes off. So, the Makom Aryeh. The Aryeh is 2.5 by 1.5. It even has the luchas inside. Oh, no, the shibrei doesn't have it, but it goes from side to side, as you see. Okay. Here. 2.5 amas by 1.5 amma. Didn't take up any space. In other words, if you were to measure the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Aryeh is right over here, right in here. Here's the Aryeh. And this whole area is 20 by 20. So if you were to measure from the end of the Aryeh to the wall, you'd find 10 amas. And the other side to the wall, 10 amas. Here's a picture. These are the kruvim. I guess he wants people to feel it and see it. Anyway, from here to here, the blue is 20, and if you go from the wall in the yellow to the Aryeh is 10. You go from the wall to the Aryeh is 10. The space, as we said before, when it comes to these things, it's all relative. Space is relative. When it comes to kedusha, there's no space. So this is a beautiful vart that when it comes to Torah, the Aryeh is the Torah. It has the luchas. That's the Torah. Torah doesn't take up any space. In other words, if you learn Torah and mashkia in Torah, you spend time in Torah, don't worry about it. It's not going to take away from your parnasa, from the gashmias. That's the part I like. That's the one I remembered. All right. V'amar Ravnoi Amar Shmuel. Kruvim b'neis hayu oimdim. Now there's another kruvim in addition to this. We're not talking about these kruvim that came together if Klal Yisroel was in peace and went away. That was a nace. There's another 2 kruvim that Sheleima HaMelech made. And they went from side to side, from here to there, each one. Each wing was 5 amas. Right? So imagine my arm is a wing, plus I have a body and another wing. So 5 plus 5 is 10, times 2 is 20. What about from my shoulder to shoulder? A bird has shoulders. It has, here you can even see in here. There's a little bit of body going on here. The wings don't come out from one spot. So how is it possible that the bird, these kruvim that Shlomo HaMelech made, were each one was 10 amas, just the wings? What about their body? So you see from here, there's a nace. It didn't take up any room. Says the Gemara, Nisei the varoi kochashiv. When there's a nace on the outside, we talk about it. Nisei the gavoy like kochashiv. All the nisim, anything that happened inside here, inside this room, we're not going to discuss. Says the Gemara, Yachi. Listen, nisim that Klal Yisroel sees and is familiar with. Yachi, lechem upon him, nami nisi the gavoyu. Lechem upon him, the whole shulchan is inside. And you counted it as it was warm on the next week. Lechem upon him, nisi the broyu. No, it's an outer nace. The Amar Ishlokish might chsiv ala shulchan atar. What does it mean? Tar miklal shutame. You're saying that a shulchan, this shulchan right over here, can be mekabel tuma. If somebody touches it, it can be mekabel tuma. Not true. Daf Yomi Amud Beis. This parasha sponsored for shidduch for Shem the Rachel Bas Avrohom Tzvi, and the shidduch for Es Dvar Bas Le Gittel Dvar Bas Suri, and L'ilui Nishmas, all the Niftarim and Meron and Refuah Sheleima for all those still in the hospital need a Refuah Sheleima, and a Nechama for all the mishpachas. I don't know how many Yeshayahu there are, but there must be a lot. I don't know if the number is 100. It's a crazy amount of new Yeshayahu. One person had 9 children, right? It's unbelievable. All right, Zok the Gemara. This shulchan is not meant to move. It's a kli eitz. Now, Rashi points out, Tosfos points out, as we'll see in a second, this shouldn't be mekabel tuma. The question is, why is it not mekabel tuma? It's layered, the outside is gold. And gold is mateches mekabel tuma, even if it's not meant to move. Rashi says, so this Tosfos, since the pasuk calls it kli eitz, even though it's actual metal, it's considered kli eitz. But it's not mekabel tuma. In other words, if there's a dead body in another room, and the window is open into this room, then the tumah flies into this room, makes this whole room tummy. But if you put a piece of wood on the window and the wood never moves, then it's able to stop the window, plug up the window. So this shulchan should not be mekabel tumah. Why is it mekabel tumah? Ela melamed, it teaches us. They lift up the shulchan and they bring the shulchan, which was right over here on the side, they bring it over here to the door. They're not going to take it out because it belongs in the eichel, but they'll bring it to the door. They'll say, Shalom Aleichem, look at this bread, look at the steam. It says in the Rishonim, I believe, the steam coming out. Klal Yisroel was able to see that it's still hot. So Memela, once they're moving it, even though it's once a year, then it becomes davar metaltel. It's meant to be moved, so therefore it's mekabel tumah. Look how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you. It remains hot. Look at the HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chiba. Look, you came to Beis HaMikdash on the first day of Yom Tov. You're all excited. You had all this enthusiasm. It dies off after a few days. It keeps on going down. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chiba to you is exactly like the first day. The first day you put it in, it's hot. That's how it stays forever. You don't have more nisim. He planted trees. You're not allowed to plant trees in the Beis HaMikdash. He planted trees that gave off golden fruit. Now, if you saw, your mother always said, money doesn't grow on trees. Over here you have a tree that grows money. So isn't that a pretty big nice? Pretty nice. I had the schus to learn with Noam the Shabbos. And I asked him, why does it say, take a ladder, go up to the tree, and pick your fruit? Why does it say in the Gemara that when the wind came and blew off the fruit, okay, they used to fall off? Why do you need to wait for the wind? So he said, very good. I think it's emes pshat. There's 24 mishmaros. So if you can take a ladder and take the fruit, so you're going to take a ladder and grab all the gold. You have to wait until HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends a wind, and whatever falls for you, that's what falls. That's what's good for you. Nice pshat. Shenemar, Yirash Kalvanim Period. When the goyim, imagine the goyim come in there, what, they're going to get all the free gold? Yavash. It dried up. Was going to bring back this golden fruit. So what are we going to do? We have more nisim. We have the ness of all this gold. Says the Gemara, anything that's permanent is not on the list. And that might be the idea that there's a lot of nisim. Every minute of our life is an ace. But we don't care anymore. It's such an ace, it happens every minute. Does anybody sit here and marvel over their heart beating every second? No. Rabbi Victor Miller says, and in Kriyas Yamsov, there's one ace that the water went like this, and there was 3 million nisim that the heart keeps on going like this. Why would the heart do this? That's an ace. But nobody cares, because we're so used to it. So an ace kavua, you become so used to it, yeah, okay, fine. So we want to show nisim that keep on happening. Says the Gemara, if you're already going to say that answer, the Aryeh and the Kruvim, they're there. You saw it once, your grandfather saw it, okay, so it doesn't take up room. No. It's not impressive. The lechem upon him is every week. It's a new nace, it's a new bread. What? There was smoke that came out of this mizbeach. There's 5 things that it said about the fire. It had a shape of a lion. And it was clear like the sun. Imagine fire that you could feel, literally feel. You can't go like this, not put your hand through it, do a trick. It would stop. It's like hitting stone. It had the ability to consume moist wood, just like it had the ability to consume dry wood. And it didn't have smoke, it says. Says Gemara, there's different fires. The one that was brought by human beings that had smoke. The Sanya. Baruch Hu sent his own fire, but you also be part of it, bring your own fire. That fire had smoke. Why are you telling me that the fire on the Mizbeach had a shape of a lion? It had a shape of a dog. The question is, there's only one animal in the entire Torah that you're not allowed to trade in for a carbon, and that is Mechir Kelev, a dog. Dog is terrible for the Mizbeach. So, that one thing you can't put on the Mizbeach, it had a shape of a dog. Says the heilige Marsha that the first Mizbeach was made by Sheleima Melech, who came from Yehuda, and therefore it would look like a lion. But the second Beis HaMikdash was built by the Persians, as we learned. And who built it? Koresh. And Koresh was like a dog. He ate from, he was nursed by a dog. And the Mela, maybe it's like a certain Akarsata, even though we don't bring korbanos of dogs, of Mechir Kelev, a trade of a dog, nevertheless, the fire looked like a dog to commemorate Koresh. Was there a fire at all? What? Fire came down from Shemayim? Look at his name. Aleph Yud Nun, Yud Aleph. It goes, what is it called in English? Palindrome. So here's the pasuk. This is talking about Binyan Beis HaMikdash. HaKadosh Baruch said, build me a house. I'm going to be happy with it. Ve'kaved, in red. That's how it says it. But we read it, ve'kavda. That's the word, ve'kavda, but it's missing a hey. To teach us it's missing hey things. 5 things are missing, just like it's missing the hey. What's missing? These are the differences between the first bias and second bias. This no longer in Bayis Sheni. Why? As we learned in Shkolim, we mentioned it, Yeshayahu buried it. Shlomo HaMelech knew that it's eventually the guy we're going to grab it, so he built a special hiding place in the Beis HaMikdash. We discussed in Shkolim where exactly the hiding place was. No more in Bayis Sheni. Ukruvim. I'm sorry. Aron Kaparis Kruvim. That's one. All three. The Kruvim is part of it. Okay. Kaparis is that one right over here. That one tefach. I'll show it again. This is the Kaparis right over here. Ushchina. Kishbarch himself. V'ruach HaKodesh. Nevuah. V'urim v'tumim. Urim v'tumim was in the Chayshin. The Kohen Gadol had all the jewels, what are they called? The stones, precious stones. And underneath there was a piece of cloth that had Shem Hashem, and that would give Klal Yisroel answers. That they didn't have. I missed the Eish. Rabbi said we want to go to Eish. This it's a plan. It's an idea. If you want to join us this Friday, we most likely will be at the Kaisel Amaravi because it's Erev Yantiv, and I mentioned I haven't been to the Kaisel in over a year. It's a tremendous tragedy. But many people came over and said, we haven't either been to the Kaisel, certainly because of COVID and everything. So we figured, let's do a live share from the Kaisel. We'll all join. You could all join. You're all invited. We'll have a nice breakfast. Gary is going to be there. Gary hasn't been to the Kaisel in 5 years. He's a shtickle. We found out he's a shtickle satmer, whatever it is. He's coming. He's coming. Beis Hashem will be there. All right. So Eish. Imagine breakfast on the rooftop of Eish or another place, looking over the Kaisel. Oh, not this Friday. Sorry, not this Friday. Erev Shavuos. You're right. Erev Shavuos. Ushchina v'roch hakodesh v'tumim. Eish. The fire didn't come down. So it says fire didn't come down. Amri, imi avahava. Yes, there was fire from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Siyula Messiah, but it didn't help consume the flesh. There's 6 types of fires. There's a fire that eats solids but not liquids. There's fires that eat liquids and not solids. The Gemara is going to explain. There's a fire that can do everything. And there's a fire that can eat solids and moist. And there's fires that push away other fires. And there's fires that consume other fires. Regular fire in this world could only consume solids. You give it a little water, like a fire engine, bye-bye. If a person is sick, the person is sick, his inner fire consumes liquids, dries out, but not solids. Famous story with Eliyahu Navi, with the Baal, about he proved to them, he brought the carbon, he drenched it with water. The fire consumed everything. It says in the pasuk, look at the pasuk, it says, Eitzim, Avanim, Avanim, of course solids, Vesafar, Vesamayim, also the liquids, which was in the ditch over there, so much water in the ditch. This nice right over here, it could consume wood that's moist and dry. The Gabriel, we just had it in Pesachim. Gabriel saved Chanayim Shol Vazari from Kibshan Eish by cooling it down inside and consuming all the people around it with his fire. So the fire pushed off fire. V'yesh Eish or Chelas Eish the Shechina. By Sheishes Yimei Bereshis, the Malachim told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, don't create man. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu went with his finger and he killed them. And Malachim are fire, so he destroyed the Malachim with his fire. Fire kills fire. We said that this plume of smoke was straight. Sukkot is about rain. We down for the rain. So everybody wanted to see what's going to be this year. So they wait till the last day of Sukkot. Shmini Atzeres, not Shmini Atzeres, Shmini Atzeres, let's call it. If the wind was towards the north, that means it was blowing out of the south. If it's moving to the north, it's blowing from the south. That means there's a lot of rain coming. The owners of the orchards and everything, they were very sad because they're going to have way too much produce, and they can't wait for high prices. They're going to give it away for nothing. So the anim are happy. Not the klabidarim, if the opposite. If the wind is, you see the smoke. But anyways, we're talking about the plume of smoke off the mizbeach. and it's moving in different directions. You just told me it's straight like a solid piece of steel. It doesn't move. It does move. It goes this way, that way, and we know. Okay, but the bottom line is not the klapi darmani metzayim bali badim smeichim. If it goes towards the south, that means it came out of the north. So the aniyim are very sad. Not a lot of rain. And therefore they could make the prices high. Another klapi mizrach, if the plume of smoke went towards the east, that means it came out of the west. Hakol smeichim, everybody's happy. Klapi mayrov, hakol atzevim, because now it's hot and dry. Kitzer, the ozil. So we have a kasha. You see that it moves. Says the Gemara, the ozil v'asi kediklo. It is solid. It's nice and round, but it's like a palm tree which moves in the wind. It doesn't just fly everywhere like a regular smoke in a fire. Regular smoke goes everywhere. Here it's a nice. Here it looks like this, but it'll go like this. Okay, but still a nice. It's nice and straight and goes like that. It doesn't. It's not mitpazer. How do you say mitpazer in English? It doesn't spread out. It gets it. Let's just finish the parak. We see the opposite. If it comes out of the east, it's great. And we just said Mizrach is Hakol Smeichim. But over here, why? Because Klapi Mizrach means that it came out of the west. Klapi Mayrov, if it goes towards the west, everybody's sad. Why? Because it came out of the east. And now we're saying Mizrach is great. Wind that comes from the north is great for wheat. And it's bad for the olives. And the wind from the south is bad for wheat when it has a third already. And it's good for olives. If you want to know what's what, look over here. In the Kodesh HaKadosh, the Shulchan is on the northern side of the Heichal. The menorah is on the southern side. And that's how you know south is good for olives, because the menorah is made out of oil, olive oil, and the bread is made out of wheat. So northern winds are good for wheat. Now, this gives off good wheat, this gives off good olives. But the bottom line is, you see that the east doesn't bring any rain, and it's very bad. Says the Gemara, the opposite of what we learned. East is good, and we said before, east is bad, like kasha. Halon valu. Depends where you live. If you live in Eretz Yisrael, you need a lot of rain, so a lot of rain is great. If you live in Bavel, where the ground is very moist, so rain is terrible, so it's very bad. So it depends where you are. Have a wonderful day. Hadran Alach Shivas Yomim. Hadran Alach Shivas Yomim. Hadran Alach Shivas Yomim. Have a wonderful day. Adonai Shema B'Koli. Pass the call. The man will go. He's having some of the politics. Sheila B'Nem Shemim LaBoger Shemim LaBoger. Yeshayahu Yisrael Adonai Kimon Chesed V'Abiyos. והוא יבדל את ישראל מקרב בניסו ואכן יקרוב את ישראל על 20 בסורו ושב יועד